Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Stark. This is Steve Sidwell.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
We have an important message for you. Crouchy just nipped out to the loo. We're in the pub, and we've been told to tell you that you need to hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet, but you love being part of this world and you enjoy the podcast. We need you to hit subscribe on YouTube. Isn't that right, Sid?
Yeah, listen. We love what we do. We, in this wacky world, we go off-piste. You bring us back into play. It's enjoyable. We know you love doing it as well. Listening in, watching in, keep focused and keep doing it.
Yeah, so be like Steve, subscribe well, and you can enjoy more of this fab content.
Hello and welcome to that Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch. I've got Chris Stark with me. No Sids, Chris.
No Sids. I don't know what his excuse is, frankly. I only found out 5 minutes ago he's not joining us. I know you're on holiday at the moment. You're currently recording this from Portugal. I'm in London. We just don't know where Sids is. He's gone missing.
Steve Misswell.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I walked in today and they say, oh, no, we haven't got Sids. I said, where is he? No one seems to know. So I'm surprised there isn't more concern. Equally, I guess if you're listening to this right now, just keep an eye out for him. He's currently missing and we don't really know where he is.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Keep in touch. But you know what? I am away at the moment, and I'm going to say it reasonably quietly because my family is quite close, but I'm kind of done with all this now. It's wearing a bit thin. And obviously the Premier League season is upon us, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, at least the football's back. We had Watford last weekend and Maidenhead. For me personally, it was just nice seeing those fixtures sort of pop up in the diary and the potential to get back involved. I think this bit of the summer holidays is really wearing thin for a lot of parents listening right now. You just run out of things to do with them, don't you?
Oh, it's just spot on, isn't it? You know what I mean? You just don't get any time to yourself. You probably hear them in the background.
That's basically what this podcast is for you, though, isn't it? It always has been just an excuse for you to kind of sneak off, chat shit, have a couple of...
Do my own thing. Yeah,
got any drinks on the go there or not?
No, I'm on the waters today because I went down to the beach and had a good few beers. It was a great day, but you always overdo it, don't you?
Yeah, and last time, I can't remember if it was on the podcast that we did last time or the one before, you were talking about being in the same swimming pool as Kevin De Bruyne. Have we anyone else been spotted, or are they all back in the UK now?
No, I've seen the odd player like here and there. I don't want to reveal too much, but because they're on holiday, they don't want me exposing them, telling them where they are.
No, that's fair enough. But talking about strange kind of goings on with footballers and actually ex-footballers as well, did you see the Gary Neville DJ set a couple of weekends ago at Kendall Calling?
What?
I thought I needed to bring this to your attention. So
yeah, sounds like you really do.
Yeah, you know the festival Kendall Calling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we avoided the run-up to this, but sure enough, there's a back-to-back DJ set with Tim Burgess and Gary Neville. And I thought this was a joke. I thought this was just a kind of promotional thing. But sure enough, there's all these videos that have come out from Kendall Calling of Gary Neville. It's largely a lot of Manchester tunes, Cortinas, Stone Roses, Oasis, that kind of thing. But yeah, thoughts on Gary Neville moving into DJing?
Yeah, I mean, I could understand maybe if it was Howard Kendall calling, but I don't get I don't get him DJing really. But I knew he was mates with the guy from the Charlatans, Tim Burgess. But I didn't have him down as a DJ. But he seems to be able to turn his hand to anything these days, doesn't he? So
yeah,
good luck to him.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. I don't know if this was a one-off, or if there's sort of plans to do the next, but definitely one to keep an eye on. So yeah, look, podcast today. There's a few bits we need to mop up from the other couple of podcasts over the last couple of weeks. It's a shame we haven't got Sidwell's input on this, but until he's found, we'll just sort of rumble on with us, mate. We were talking before about the fact that you hear people on the radio or you hear commentary and you don't really remember, you don't really know what they look like, so you build up a picture in your head. and you said that you'd never seen the person who is the voice of Big Brother.
Yeah.
Well, what we've done is we've got the picture of him right in front of you there. I don't know if you want to take a little look and just give us your reaction to him.
I've got it in front of me now. Yeah, I've got it in front of me. And obviously the question is this what I expected? And does the voice match the face? It's not what I expected, if I'm honest.
What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, it doesn't look Geordie to me.
Oh, so are you thinking he's maybe putting on a Geordie accent for effect?
I feel like he's strong in it, if I'm honest. I think, with plenty of people in the voiceover industry, I'm sure, do put on certain voices. I feel like he can't speak like that in his day-to-day life, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I know it's a weird one. And I think sometimes, as we've said before, it's better that you don't actually ever see these people, because whatever's in your head can get really ruined when you actually do see it. Similar with commentators as well. Just looking at the any other business here, there's a message from Craig. Do you want to read that one?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he actually talks about the United songs. Remember we were talking about "Come on, you Reds, come on, you Reds, just use your bottle and use your Reds for 90 minutes. We'll let them know it's Man United. Here we go." We were talking about that tune, and it was actually a very good tune, I thought. Then you brought another one to our attention.
Yes, it was the song. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it went something like this. It was like, "This could be the year to celebrate and cheer. Got nothing to
unreal. Well,
yeah.
He said, Craig says, when I heard Chris talk about United songs, I thought he was going to mention the United Calypso song, which was the official song of the 98-99 season. At the start of that season, I won a competition in the United official magazine and was invited down to BBC studios with a number of other fans known as Red United. And from there, we met some of the players and recorded the songs United Calypso and a Sing Up for the Champions.
Yes.
Once it was released, United Calypso ended up finishing in the top 10 of the charts, and United obviously went on to win the treble. I'd love to find out what the other band members are up to.
Yes, I do remember this. This really rings a bell. United Calypso. And obviously Sing Up for the Champions just is as imagined, right? Sing up for the champions, sing.
Yeah.
I actually think, strangely enough, I bought this on cassette. I've got a real sort of old memory of it. Have you got the song?
Do you want me to play it for you?
Yeah.
Now football is a pleasant game, played in the sun, played in the rain, and the team that gets me excited, Manchester United. Manchester United, a bunch of bouncing Busby mates, they deserve to be united. If ever they're playing in your town, you must get to that football ground, take a lesson, go to see, football taught by Matt Busby, Manchester.
What on earth is that?
Mate, what a song. That was top 10.
Top 10 in the charts.
Yeah, and you can't fault that because obviously they've then gone on to win the treble. So something went right with all that. So are there players on that? That's what I can't work out. Is it Craig and...
I don't know. I haven't done enough research into this, I'll be honest.
I mean, Craig's asking what the other band members got up to. So I'm assuming there's other United fans that are probably listening to this podcast and featured on that song.
Yeah.
But imagine saying you had a top 10 song, Crouchy.
I know, it's mega, mate. It's absolutely unreal. Like, I would absolutely love it. I'd love to be involved in something like that. But it's kind of gone, isn't it? And I think you can. It's borderline, isn't it? Like, it could be horrific.
It could be horrific, yeah. But a lot of fashion kind of comes around in circles. You know what? Someone had a go at me on the radio. One of our team had a go at me because I don't wear my socks above my trainers. They said that I was old because I wore shorter. So now, mate, look, everywhere I go, I'm having to wear... I was told this, at one point in time, that was a fashion faux pas, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, totally right. I think the half sock, I mean, for instance, Abby's absolute... She can't have it at all. It's a big ick for her.
What is that if you wear the... What is that, a trainer sock?
Little half sock.
So they're the ones that you can barely
sock.
see if you've got trainers on?
Yeah, those, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't like them.
No, she's not a fan at all, no. So I've took to wearing the full sock, like if I go to golf and stuff like that. It's either that or no socks whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Although, speaking of featuring in songs, Crouchy, this I don't know if we've talked about this yet. So, Chase and Status have got a new song out with Stormzy. I believe it's coming out quite soon. And we actually heard a clip of this. Someone sent it to us on TikTok, and you're one of the lyrics. So it's phenomenal, this, but we heard nothing since. We've heard nothing from Chase and Status. We've heard nothing from Stormzy. But by the looks of it, this song is coming out. And yeah, we've got to get you and Stormzy performing this on stage at some point, surely.
Don't say that, because that could end up happening somewhere.
Mate, I can see it. I can see it. It's a big song. It's a big summer song. It's something like, I can't remember the context which it's used. It's like...
I've seen the lyric. I've seen it. Someone sent it to me.
Yeah. I score my own goals, Peter Crouch. It's something like that. Anyway, decent though, mate. It's a pretty big deal.
Decent, yeah, it's good to be involved. Good to be involved. Big fan of them both. Like Chase and Status, I've seen a few times. Like big fan of them as well. And Stormzy, of course.
What I love about this message from Craig as well, the idea that you've won a competition. I think, well, by the looks of it, I think that's how he ends up getting involved in making this song. I wanted to know, Crouchy, have you, outside of football, obviously you've won plenty of stuff there, but have you ever won a competition by sort of applying for it through a magazine or a newspaper? And the one that comes to mind for me is I once won a Spriller's boots in a... I actually did, mate, in a thing called the Fun Day Times. So it was like a kids section of the Sunday Times. And I entered the competitions on that. And I won a Spriller's boots and one competition. I was relentless on this thing. You had to apply by doing postcards. Probably ages me a bit.
Have you still got Faustino Spriller's boots? Have you still got them?
Mate, I loved them. Puma Kings. They were great.
Wow. That's amazing. Fair play. No, I think I've wrote in a few times to like match and shoot in 90 minutes. I used to get match shoot 90 minutes religiously. And I wrote in a few times, but I had nothing back.
I reckon people have won all sorts. I'm interested to know as well if anyone listening has ever won a Peter Crouch related prize. I reckon there's a few out there. peter.crouch@acast.com if you've got a story on this, or just... I'm thinking more perhaps the old school competitions, like you're saying, Crouchy, the ones that would have been in match or shoot, and you've won something random. I remember one time I entered because they were giving away a mini disc player, and I won the mini disc player, which I was buzzing about. But I also won a lifetime supply of cheesy beans, Heinz cheesy beans, and they all got delivered in one pallet at my mum's house, right? So a lifetime supply of cheesy beans, it's not like they were arriving every month. They delivered them all at once. So it was 150,
no way.
150 cans of cheesy beans turned up to my mum's gaff in Pinner.
Wow. But you can't, like, how are you going to get through them? Like seriously, you just can't. You really go off them when you're...
Yeah,
surely.
Well, that's it. We actually tried them. So dinner that night, we obviously tried a tin of these cheesy baked beans and they were rank. So I then complained to Heinz and was like, I don't need 150 cans of this. It tastes horrible. I'm sure the recipe's improved, but it weren't right at the time. So what they offered to do was switch them out for 150 cans of normal baked beans, which I was up for.
Oh, okay.
But then the problem was what ended up happening was they then delivered 150 cans of normal baked beans but didn't take away the cheesy ones. So then my poor mum now had 300 cans of beans in the hallway of our house. And she was fuming, right? Because I had no interest in it. I had this mini disc player. So then do you know what we ended up doing? My uncle ended up bringing around a van and we took them all to the Harvest Festival at my school. So you know where every other kid turned up with like one tin?
Yeah.
I had 300 tins of cheesy baked beans and normal beans. What a hell of a harvest.
That's a good shout. Fair play. That's good play.
Yeah, but let us know. Look, if you've won a competition, any funky football prizes, please let us know. peter.crouch@acast.com.
Yeah, right. So the season's upon us, Chris, right? We're going to talk about the season and see how we kind of think it's going to pan out. Like, obviously, like I'm saying here, I'm very excited for it. Like, we did well, like, this summer. You know, we've had the Euros. Wimbledon was good. The Olympics, good fun. But it's nothing better than when, like, for me, it feels like I'm back at home. I'm like settled. The kids are in school and the Premier League's on. Like, I do like the routine and the normality of when the Premier League's back.
Yeah, and I love this bit of the season as well. You catch the last bit of summer, so you still get the warm weather. You've really got to soak it up, the sort of start of the season. And it's great to have the National Leagues back. And as I say, like getting back into the Championship and that all starting up again was great. We had Millwall for the first game. So actually, if I'm honest, I didn't do that one away.
No, didn't fancy it?
No, if I'm honest.
It's actually an experience. Like
I know it is, mate.
I've played there a few times, and yeah, it's good. It's good crack. It's good fun.
It is. It's just an intense way to start the season for me. You know, it's like I think a few games in, it would be great to do that as the away day. It's just I don't know. I'm still in family mode, and it's hard justifying any time away from the kids, let alone to get right involved with Millwall. So. That's my excuse for it anyway. I was being a bit of a lame fan.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, I'm going to Ipswich, Liverpool, first game of the season. I'm down there for TNT Sport, which I love. I like because I think a promoted club playing a huge kind of Premier League giant like Liverpool in their first game, like Portman Road's absolutely rocking. There's something always special about the promoted team's atmosphere. First time back in the Premier League, but to play Liverpool as well on the first day, it'd be amazing atmosphere down there. And obviously, like, I'm doing the game, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Do you think it's really important to get sort of that momentum and that real energy that comes with being a newly promoted team? How important is it to kind of set the right tone and galvanise that atmosphere and attack this bit of the season before you settle in and everything becomes a bit normalised?
I think like a lot of I've been in kind of clubs, maybe smaller clubs in Premier League status, teams that haven't always been in the Premier League. Like for instance, Stoke, and we always tried to make it a fortress, the home games, and I think that's key to staying up is make the bigger teams feel uncomfortable. Luton did it to a certain degree at times last season, but it wasn't enough. But for the promoted teams like Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, I think they really have to make the fans have to be heard, and they have to unsettle the big teams. I mean, that's what we did at Stoke, and no one liked going there. And against the bigger teams, we often found ourselves kind of getting a lot of joy because of that.
Yeah. And on that, do you find that so-called big teams, if you're going to call it that, which I think is obviously a massively patronising term, but I think everyone knows what we kind of mean by that. If you're a bigger team and you're, say, playing against, let's look at this example with Liverpool and Ipswich, even with all the analysis that must happen, do you think there's still a kind of unknown entity? Is it quite hard to play against that? Do you need a few games of a newly promoted club to kind of... Do you need them to play a few clubs to kind of be able to really understand what they're about, to be able to kind of properly prepare?
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like a surprise element. I mean, listen, you remember Ipswich came up, a while ago now, but with Matt Holland and Marcus Stewart and that Ipswich team that kind of ended up in Europe, didn't they, I think? And I think got relegated the next year. But it was, what a journey! That was amazing. I suppose that's the good times. But I think they have to make it a really difficult place to go if they're going to have any joy. And I think they're an unknown, quantity. Many of the players, certainly the foreign players, wouldn't have ever been down to Portman Road, won't have ever played against Ipswich. So it's all new to them. And I think you can shock them, certainly early on in the season, because once they've played a few games, kind of halfway through the season, that shock element's gone. And yeah, hopefully they can create a great atmosphere and give a good account of themselves.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is just going to make us feel really old here, Crouchy, and maybe you especially, but of course, Rory Delap's son, Liam, playing for Ipswich. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've seen him before, like as a child. with with Rory. I mean, I played with Rory when he was at Southampton, and I would have been about 23. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's mad to see, you know, these players, kids coming through in the Premier League. Emil Heskey's son, I think, is doing well and looks like he's in the first team squad. Things like that. Like players I've played with, and now their sons are coming through in the Premier League. It is a strange one, to be fair. But yeah, no, he's a good player. But
has he got a throw on him? Have you seen him throw a ball?
I haven't seen him do the throwing, I'll be honest. But I think he's a good player, and I think he'd be if you could sign him for Ipswich. They've signed quite a few Ipswich, and you know they're obviously trying to have a go. But I do worry for the promoted teams, all of them really, because I just look at the strength in depth of the kind of the teams in and around them who have stayed up. You know, Bournemouth are stronger now. West Ham are strong. Like teams kind of feels like that the more established Premier League teams do have more than the promoted teams. But you know, time will tell. There's usually one of the teams ends up surprising you.
Yeah, just on that, out of the teams to get promoted to the Premier League, only 9 teams have stayed up 10 seasons and only 4 have made it to 11 seasons. It says here Crystal Palace are about to face their 11th season in the Premier League. It just shows it is a struggle.
Yeah. You know, it is. And it's, you know, I think one of the hardest things to do, I think, in the Premier League certainly is like when I was, again, at Stoke, we finished, you know, top 10 3 times on the spin, and that you go like, oh, we're going to get to that next level, and the next level's kind of, you know, European football. And we got into Europe in UEFA. I think it was the Europa League, probably one of the first Europa League campaigns, and we got into that, and it was difficult to manage the Premier League season. We managed to keep it together, and then obviously Mark Hughes come in. We finish, and we're going to the next level, and then you kind of reach for something that sometimes I feel it's almost, you know, not attainable, you know, with the kind of amount of money that we were spending. So, but we did try it, and then you end up, it culminated in relegation. You know, it's like, it's almost like you try and reach too far. And it sounds terrible to say that, and fans will hate it because you always want to be, you know, believe you can do it. But it's almost like, you know, it's happened to a few teams where you've gone, right, where are we trying to get to? They overspend, get relegated, and the club's in a lot of trouble.
It is exciting, as you were saying earlier, just looking ahead to the Premier League starting. It feels like some of the stories are already writing themselves. I guess you at Portman Road, no doubt you'll link up with Ed Sheeran when you're there. I imagine he'll be floating around for the first game, so that'll be a good moment to watch on TNT, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, obviously we had him on the pod, didn't we? And you know, he was chatting about obviously sponsoring the shirt, and being a sponsor at Portman Road, and obviously he's very proud of being an Ipswich fan, and you know, he was absolutely buzzing when they went up, and there's no doubt he won't be missing that first game of the season. Yeah,
we can all look forward to Liam Delap's throw-in. The first time that happens, that's going to be a big moment, I think, when everyone's watching that, especially if he goes and takes it on from someone else, you know. I can't wait to see that. And I guess the other moment, just looking at the newly promoted sides, that will be a great story, is, of course, Michael Golding at Leicester. Now, do you remember this player? This is the fella who, do you remember when he was being substituted on?
Oh, yeah.
Went for the handshake with the fourth official.
I do remember that, yeah. I thought that was a lovely moment. You know, someone just young, kind of naive, like excited. Everyone's shaking his hand going, good luck, son. He's just assumed that that's what the fourth official was doing. But no, I thought that was a lovely moment.
But do you think when he comes on, and he's got to come on as a substitute, what a great moment that will be if he just turns around, shakes the hand of the fourth official, becomes his thing as a substitute.
Becomes his thing. The little handshake fourth. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's
right,
good.
So, you know, we're bringing the predictions back this year, right? Obviously, the predictions table. I've had so much enjoyment from this in the past few years. I have got a little bit of a head start from my predictions in the Euros. So, are you nervous about this season's predictions?
Crouchy, I am a bit intimidated by this whole league situation, because I personally think you have access to all the best stats. You've got these people that give you all this information. It's your bread and butter. I kind of feel there should be a handicap situation going on, you know? You should win this league every time. So it feels odd that I kind of get punished so badly by, you know, just by being me. But maybe that's how you want it.
Yeah, the punishment is harsh, obviously, but that is part and parcel of being in a kind of thing like this. But I do think you're right with that handicaps. It's like, you know, I suppose we do have more access to potentially more information about the league. So yeah, we'll come to terms with that. I think we'll try and work something out.
I wonder if what we do, Crouchy, is maybe instead of adding any points out of sympathy or anything like that, because that wouldn't be right either. I just want to kind of encourage anyone who listens to this podcast to maybe help me out a bit. I mean, maybe what this can be is, whereas you have the resource of football, you know, you're mates with the people who are playing in the Premier League. You've got access to a sports broadcaster who can give you the best stats, whereas I can just go by people power. So perhaps moving through with this league, it would be just useful if people can pile in with some predictions or little insights here or there, or help me with some of the work on this. Because I'd love it if I beat you. I'd absolutely love it if I beat you. And wouldn't it be great if you end up doing the forfeit at the end of the season? Like, that should be everyone's aim here.
I feel like, you know, almost like Man City a little bit now. You got a target on your back. You know, people want to bring you down, and I think this is where I need to just continue. Just let everyone else, let all the noise around me just disintegrate. Just get on with my job, really, of this season. That's winning the Prediction Friday League.
Yes, they'll be back when we start the Friday podcast again very, very soon. So I'm very excited for that. Just on the Man City thing, you know, there's a lot of talk about it being Pep's last season. Have you heard anything on this front? Do you have any sort of insight that kind of isn't currently out there?
No, I only the rumours that you've heard. Like, I've not heard anything else. You know, it does make sense. I think, you know, he's done an unbelievable job there. You know, maybe he might just need a little break, a little reset, you know, similar to what he's done in previous times. So yeah, I think, you know, I wouldn't disagree with it. I don't think anyone could begrudge him it. You know, he's been an absolute kind of revelation, really. He's just transformed football in general. His impact on football will probably be revered kind of forever. You know, he's had that bigger impact. Like I say, I saw Kevin De Bruyne on holiday, and yeah, it looks like he's going to be staying as well. You know, they're not bringing in, you know, a huge amount of players. It's just the one, is it? Was it Savinho?
Yeah, Savinho.
Pep said that they're not going to bring in any others in. So obviously still got an unbelievable squad anyway, but I think it would have been, you know, probably just keep something fresh, bringing in maybe one or two key players. But they've got an amazing squad. I can't see anyone other than Haaland getting the golden boot, Man City to win it again, and Pep to probably take a rest at the end of the season. And obviously Kevin De Bruyne looks like he'd probably stay another year as well. I don't think, you know, unless anything major happens, you know, they'll have another key man still there. So Arsenal will definitely push them close again this year. But unfortunately, it's quite boring now, and you feel like Man City 1, Arsenal 2, and then you can probably take your pick a little bit after that.
You're sounding a little bit like Steve Sidwell. Are you not entertained?
Having said that about Steve Sidwell, I want to bring something in on the Friday podcast, right? I just wrote it down here. We want listeners to submit something and see if it entertains Sidwell. Submissions we're looking for could be a funny story, preferably a voice note, secret talent, party trick, or a video they've seen. So to encourage listeners to email in, slide into the DMs and let us know how you will entertain Sid. And that'll be throughout the Friday podcast. Is Steve Sidwell entertained?
Yeah, I just want to expand on this slightly, because we've had this idea and I think it's brilliant. I think this could be our X factor, by the way, Crouchy. I think this has got legs, this has, right? After Steve Sidwell, in almost quite an audacious manner, suggested that he was not entertained by the Euros. Like, said it quite casually as a throwaway comment, but, you know, it was quite shocking to see, you know, the biggest tournament, you know, this this year, the Euros do not entertain Steve Sidwell. So we want to see what will impress Steve Sidwell. And as Crouchy says, it's your opportunity. I think we can start with, people's talents. It could be that you're a singer, or it could be that you do a bit of stand-up comedy or anything like that. We just want you to submit a small video. And at some point, maybe we will find something that entertains Steve Sidwell, because the threshold is high, isn't it?
Yeah, it was funny. It felt like the Julian Dix comment, not for me. It was like, Euros, not for me. Very, great comment.
Yeah. So we're going to start doing that when the Friday pod's back. This podcast today, whilst Crouchy's on holiday and Steve Sidwell's MIA, is a bit of a kind of clear up ahead of the new season, preparations for the pod coming back and the Friday pod coming back, because I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. What we did is we went out on social and we asked for people's predictions ahead of the Premier League starting this weekend, Crouchy. Can I just run through them and just get your take on some of them? Just see what you think. So there was a few people predicting that Slot will be sacked by Christmas. Can you see that happening?
I don't see that. No, I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction club. They've got to be bottom of the league for that to happen. I can't see that happening. No.
Fulham or Bournemouth to get Europe? That's from Oliver.
Yeah, nice. I like that. I like both of them. Bournemouth for me, especially. I just thought the manager did a fantastic job last season. Yeah, I think the manager was a breath of fresh air, I thought, last year, and I was very impressed with Bournemouth and Fulham as well. They've got good players. Always like the manager. Whenever I've seen him or wherever I've met him, whenever I've spoke to him, I think he's very impressive. So yeah, I could see that. Yeah, if he's saying one of those two, I could definitely see it, and I'd lean towards Bournemouth, I think.
Just on the Fulham tip as well, we got this one from Rich. It says Smith Rowe scores more goals for Fulham than Arsenal's top scorer gets this season. Actually, an interesting shout, that one.
That's an interesting shout, yeah.
And what a signing, by the way. I can see that. I can see that working so well.
Yeah, I just think he probably needs a bit to feel like the kind of main man a bit. When he came into the Arsenal team, he was kind of, he was their best player for a while. And then things just kind of stagnated for him. So this would be a new lease of life, and hopefully we'll see the best out of him.
Absolutely killing one of the best Arsenal chants, though, which is a sad byproduct of these sort of things. Saka and Emma Smith Rowe.
It's a shame, people move on.
All right, this one from Charlie. Palace to get top 6.
Yeah, again, Palace. This is what I'm saying about the promoted clubs. Like, you look at people like Bournemouth, at Fulham, Brentford, teams that I just think are stronger than the promoted teams, And again, I think Palace, the fact that they seem to have they've kept hold of Eze so far. Yeah, they lost Elise. Obviously, it was a big miss for them, because Eze and Elise together was fantastic. But if they keep hold of Eze, they've got a real chance again. I think and top 6 is not out of the question. There was a huge surprise last year with Aston Villa. I thought they performed really, really well, and obviously got the Champions League places. So why can't Palace get in the top 6? I think they'll just finish just outside that. I do think there are stronger teams, but if they get a run together and the managers prove to be again a huge factor for them, they've got every chance.
Do you think some of these movements around mid-table will mean that Newcastle might struggle a bit more than perhaps their potential should be allowing them to improve?
I get that kind of, there's a few rumblings about the manager obviously going to the England job, and he kind of didn't quash those. But I think the fact that they've been able to keep hold of Isak and Bruno Guimaraes, I think if they had lost both of those players, I can see them basically, they could see them falling off. There'd be a kind of doom and gloom around the place because the fans love them so much. But the fact that they've been able to keep hold of them, I think, Isak for me, I think you take Haaland out the Premier League, I think he wins the Golden Boot. He's a class act, and it was very close, I think, to moving on. The fact that he hasn't, with Bruno Guimaraes as well, I think I can't see them. I can't see them finishing in the bottom half. I think they'll finish in the top half, but maybe just miss out on Europe.
And then before the transfer window closes, Crouchy, any clubs been sniffing around you, seeing if there's a potential Peter Crouch return?
No, I've had no sniffs whatsoever. I haven't actually kicked a ball much. I've been playing a lot of paddle tennis, a lot of golf, a lot of table tennis, a lot of sports involved, but not a lot of football this summer. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that as well. Hey guys, Crouchy here. Subscribe, please.
Did you see the stuff from Anthony Knockhart? I think this was about a week ago now. Just on, he's basically nibbled. It's taken quite a few years, but it looks like he's really nibbled on his Insta. Did this pass you by?
I haven't seen this one. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not that crash hot on Instagram, so a lot of things do pass me by on there. But what has he snapped? He's bitten.
What he's written here, and I guess I've been tagged in this quite a lot because I'm a Watford fan. He's basically put this up on his Instagram. It's just a reel of text, but I'll read it out to you. It goes, okay, just to make it clear, you guys keep writing, here's Hog, whatever. Listen, you clowns. Without me, you would have never experienced a playoff final in Wembley that you lost. Kevin Phillips, you remember? You all that stupid that you're even writing this like you made it. How to describe Watford Football Club? Unstable club that has 6 different managers per season. So please enjoy your life and leave me alone for once.
Oh, crikey! That's a bite. Yeah. So what's everyone just keeps throwing that into him, do they? About the playoff one.
Well, I guess since 2013, he must receive DMs almost daily from people doing, the famous commentary from that playoff semi-final. But the problem is, I think he's obviously addressed. I don't know if he's on holiday when he's written this. I don't know where he is, but he's gone quite big on this Instagram. I don't think it's going to stop the DMs.
I'll be honest with you. That usually kind of ignites it again, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing I write after a big night out. And you go like that, and at the time it's good. You wake up in the morning and you go, "Oh no,
mate!
Shouldn't have done that."
You got to put your phone down when you've had a few, mate. It's not a good moment.
Also, I just like that it's taken from 2013. I mean, where are we at? That's 11 years it's taken for this message to come out. I mean, that is relentless, isn't it? Hearing this same bit of commentary.
He must have been bombarded with it. Oh.
But then, do you remember he was the one that went down originally for the penalty that shouldn't have really been a penalty, I think, in most people's opinions. Yeah. So, I don't know. There's an element of karma about it all.
Right, Chris, I've actually got a message, believe it or not, just come through from Sid's.
Oh, nice. All right, great.
He's alive and well. It's all good. Everything's okay.
We found him. So he's just not getting involved with the podcast today?
No, he's decided against it. He's
right.
He's on holiday. But he has sent this.
Good morning, boys. It's the notorious SID from sunny Spain. Sorry I can't be there. So we're in August and the season is quickly approaching. So it's got me thinking. I'm on Twitter and X and social medias, and I'm seeing all the boys get back for pre-season and their games, and it's got me thinking about predictions and what we're thinking about the season. So I've got a question for you boys, and my first one would be: what team or player do you think is going to be the biggest surprise of the season? So it could be a positive, it could be a negative. I'll go first. I reckon that Ipswich are going to be a surprise package this year. Obviously, they got back-to-back promotions. They're riding the wave. I've experienced getting promoted from the Championship to the Premier League with Reading and Brighton. I think the first season with Reading, we finished 7th or 8th in our debut season in the Premier League. And let me tell you now, them boys will be buzzing. And I think with Kieran McKenna, what they got there, the setup, I think Portman Road could be a bit of a fortress. So I think that Ipswich are going to be my surprise package of the season. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Someone's parching Ed Sheeran.
Yes, he's definitely parching Ipswich there. Listen, they've definitely, the place is buzzing, the place is rocking, things are going well for them. I like for the reasons that I said before. I I just feel that stronger teams, I think they have to work very, very hard to stay up.
Steve Sidwell in Spain as well. I love that no one here knew that, and yet we've managed to get a voice message to make it sound like it was so organised that he can still get involved in this podcast. Like, there's no panic in his voice that he's missed this or anything. It's as if it was meant to be. Steve C. Senorwell.
C. Senorwell.
C. Senor.
Yeah, all right. So Sid's just talking about a surprise package. I don't know. I feel like we touched on that there. I feel Bournemouth for me I think they'll have a really good season. I think it's no surprise package because they did. They played well at the end of. They did play well last year. The manager was fantastic. So I feel like they will kick on again this year. So that's who I would say.
Okay, cool. Well, that's Crouchy's shout. Shall we get some predictions then? Always feels a bit reductive doing this, and it just means that people can play it at the end of the season and we can all be proven massively wrong, but that's fine by us. But if you were to say top 4 and bottom 4, what are you going to go for, Crouchy?
Top 4, Manchester City win it, Arsenal, and then it gets difficult now. How do Liverpool react with the new manager? Manchester United will improve. I think Chelsea's manager, I think that will work, but I still think they're off it. I still think they've got a kind of job to do. I think Tottenham will get in the top 4. I think they can get 4th, and I think 3rd will be Liverpool.
Oh, so you're saying Chelsea just won't have enough there?
No, I don't think so. No,
it's a tricky one, isn't it? Okay, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, and it's interesting, isn't it, with the new manager that. Traditionally, I think you could talk about a new manager bounce, but there is so much pressure on that situation when there's so much expectation that. Do you think that sort of negates it against that in a way? The new manager bounce is actually not necessarily the bounce in the right direction.
Well, the situation with Liverpool is like, how do you replace a man that has completely transformed the football club? The fans absolutely love him. Everyone was crying, and then you come in. You know what I mean? And you've got to try and shake things up. It's almost like a new manager bounce. Sometimes it's like, when you've kind of been tired of watching the football and like someone comes in and it's like, is galvanising the team again. Like with Klopp, the football was absolutely unbelievable. So then slots come in and, it's going to be difficult to try and replicate that. But he is playing football the right way. I think, he will do a good job, and I think they will kick on. But then I do think, Aston Villa last year were fantastic, got into the Champions League. And then I think the only thing is obviously they'll have to be playing a lot of Champions League games as well. Even though they did that last year with the Europa League and they still managed to finish 4th. So Aston Villa and West Ham's another one that I think have signed good players. They look exciting. They look stronger. I think they'll have a better season than they did last year as well.
What about bottom 4 then? I mean, this is the horrible bit because no one wants to hear their team in that sort of zone, but I guess you've got to say the promoted teams, it's always a struggle. It's not that you can even predict that they are going to go down. It's just the kind of natural conclusion, I think, with such a massive jump.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Everton have been at times. I think I don't think they'll get relegated, but I don't think they're going to be in the top half. I think Forest will be down there.
No, I was going to say the same. Potentially Forest.
Yeah, potentially Forest. But I'm trying to say other teams other than the 3 promoted teams. Unfortunately, I can't see the 3 promoted teams staying up. I think there's always a surprise in there, and they will win games. But ultimately, I just feel like the teams in the Premier League, when I look through it here, Palace are strong. Brighton, yeah, I think Brighton could get dragged into it. Brentford, at times it felt touch and go last year, but they've got Tony back. Managed to keep hold of him, and it looks like he'll play a huge part for them. So I think that'll be enough for them to stay up. Forest, I think, are probably have more than the promoted teams as well, and West Ham and Wolves as well. So unfortunately, as boring as it sounds, I can't see anything other than the 3 that have been promoted.
I guess the other thing to look on is the question marks over who will finish ninth this season, which was never a stress in my mind as a football fan. I don't know if it's ever been a stress in yours, Crouchy, but have you heard about the ninth place curse?
Well, so please enlighten me on this, because we, like I said before, I'm sure we finished ninth 3 years on the spin at Stoke.
So the ninth place curse. Yeah, well, maybe, mate. Let me explain. So every club which finished ninth between the 2008-09 season and the 2020-21 season went on to get relegated within 5 seasons. Yeah, so you're right. So you and Sids have both been ninth place and then relegated within 5 seasons. I can't believe this is a thing, but it seems to be. Is it hard then for clubs to kind of push through that kind of that mid-table without that being a threat?
Yeah, like I say, I think sometimes you can reach too far and you kind of lose sight of what got you there in the first place. Certainly at Stoke, we are the foundations were built upon making the Britannia or the Bet365 a fortress and a difficult place to go. It ended up being a nice place to play. We ended up playing lovely, pretty football. We didn't have that kind of grit, determination, and nastiness. Really lost that, and I think quite often teams go that, we're a footballing team now, and it ends up being a nice place to play, and the big teams just come and roll them over. And I think that can be an issue. I think you sometimes get ahead of yourself when you. And the Premier League's so harsh, and it's a difficult environment. The minute you take your eye off it or you're not on it for one season, doesn't matter who you are, you get relegated, you go down.
In the seasons post 21-22, the clubs that have finished ninth are Brighton, Brentford and West Ham, just FYI. So hopefully this isn't a curse that sticks for those 3 clubs, but just an FYI if you're a fan of any of them 3.
All right. Well, listen, you know what? I'm really looking forward to getting into the season, right? And obviously, like when our season gets up and running, and the Predictions League gets going, and we get people up, on. But it's just. I love the podcast when we're in the season and we're all settled, we're all in the pub together, and we're doing things every week. I just love it. Can't wait for it to get going, and see what happens in the Premier League and also in our little league.
Totally. So as Crouchy said, we need to see if we can find something that will entertain Sidwell. Will Sidwell be entertained? Make sure that you email us, peter.crouch@acast.com. This really is a broad brief at the moment, but if there's any talent, skill, party trick, could even be a video that you found quite funny, we're going to do one of these a week on the Friday podcast. I'd love this to build towards a full-on televised talent show that can fill the hole on Saturday nights that X Factor left. Will Sidwell be entertained? Only time will tell.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. It's got legs in it. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. All right, got a message here from Matthew. He says, around 15 years ago, I worked as a lifeguard at the David Lloyd gym during the adults only period at lunchtime. I'd usually go for a quick swim to pass the time on my lunch break. There was only ever one lane that was sectioned off for the more serious swimmers, while the rest was left to the old ladies, slowly floating up and down in groups, chatting about Emmerdale Farm, whilst trying not to get their hair wet. Sometimes that one lane was used for lessons, so being left with no choice but to move into the granny section, I'd frequently find myself having to nip underneath a horizontal line of floating old ladies to keep my momentum, whilst getting a few cheeky lemps in. I have to admit, I never turned upside down to face them, as I think that might have overstepped the line of professionalism, especially given the pool was entirely shallow. I was a cocky teenager back then, and it seemed like a great way to assert my dominance as the lifeguard. And surely everyone seeing that would feel they were in safe hands should I ever need to save them.
That's good. Yeah, it's a show of strength and dominance, which I think you actually do need as a lifeguard. Because I think too often lifeguards just look bored, don't they? They're sort of just sat on the side. I think occasionally they need to just display their strengths.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like every now and then, just ping it onto the beach and into the, like if you're by the sea, the ones they just ping on the beach and just dive into the sea with the little boy, like Baywatch, and just have a swim and then come back and everyone goes, all right, it's okay.
Yeah. we're safe here. We can see we've got a good one. Have you ever seen a more pointless job than lifeguards at the Olympics?
Is that something that you have to do? Like some people are in the pool, oh, you have to have a lifeguard. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's the best swimmers in the world. Literally the best swimmers in the world.
You see them on the side. They're there with their little red floats and the club are all ready to go.
I don't think you could have a safer pool in the entire world. Literally every one of the best swimmers from the globe have been handpicked to be in one pool. And there's a lifeguard on duty.
It's a cushy gig though, isn't it? If you think about it, you're seeing some of the greatest swimmers of all time up close. You get the best seat in the house. And your job is to potentially come jump in if needs be, but it's never going to happen, is it?
No, it's a belter. But you know what? Also, keep them coming in. I really want people to start going to scubaing. You know, I want them to go underneath. And if you do manage to do it, and you remember, I'd love to see a Goose Maverick situation, goggle to goggle. And I know you can't probably record it, you know, but just let us know if you do it because it'd really make our day.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a bit of an honesty box running on this show. So if you do it, we will trust that you did. Just let us know. peter.crouch@acast.com. All right, Crouchy.
Yeah, right, Chris, before we get into, the Premier League season and, I'm really looking forward to it and all that, we should probably sign off with a swimming 11.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, from Zach. We've got Shaka Flip-Flop in goal. Pascal Swimbonder. Lewis Dunk, Jerome Boating, Matty Splash, Stuart Drowning, Paul Scholes, Papa Scuba Diop, Steve Swimswell,
of course,
Jermaine DeFloat, and Robbie Towler.
I don't think we're ever going to run out of these, are we? Like never.
I just don't know when it's going to stop making me laugh. I really don't. Absolute belter. All right then, mate. Listen, it was a nice little 2-ball today, but I'm sure we will have the notorious SID back next week.
Lovely little catch up, mate. You'll be pleased to hear. I'm still trying to learn golf a bit. I actually managed to hit a par, my first par, a couple of days ago, so I'm absolutely buzzing about that. We will get a game in at some point, but enjoy your holiday. I assume you're playing a bit of golf out there.
Yeah, plenty of golf, mate. Plenty of golf.
All right then, and we'll all join up, and then we'll attack the season all together back in the pub. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. All right, Chumbawamba.
All right, Chumbawamba, everyone.